Hi, I'm Dr. Robert Fennell. I'm a chiropractic hand and foot specialist, and over the last 14 years, I've helped literally thousands of patients with debilitating hand and foot pain. And I've even trained hundreds of other chiropractors nationally on how to include hand and foot treatment in their practices. Today, I'm going to show you some simple stretches for hands and exercises for feet that's going to help improve elasticity, flexibility, and strength in your hands or your feet. But keep in mind, none of these stretches or exercises should cause your pain to get worse or elicit pain in any way, shape, or form. If you do experience an increase in pain doing some of these stretches or exercises, stop doing them immediately and seek proper health care. The first stretch we're going to talk about is for the hands. This is a simple palm stretch, but it feels amazing whenever you do this before, during, and after your work day. You're simply going to stretch your fingers like this, spreading your fingers apart. You're going to feel a stretch, a pulling, a burning sensation on the webs between your fingers. This is because you're getting an increase in nerve and blood supply to those small muscles and ligaments and tendons in your hands. Hold that for 5 to 10 seconds, then relax your hands to a fist. And do it again for 5 to 10 seconds and repeat this exercise 5 times. You can do this at the beginning of your day, during, and end of your day. It really helps to improve circulation and blood flow to your entire hand. The second stretch is called painting the wall. You're going to bend your wrist into extension using your other hand on your fingers and go up and down. It'll take about 3 to 5 seconds to do that movement, and you're stretching this muscle right here and the tendons that wrap around the palm surface of your hand. You'll feel that stretch very nicely. It should never hurt, pinch, or pull and cause pain. The third stretch is going to do the opposite side, the extensor side of the forearm. You're going to flex your hand like this, putting your other hand on the backs of your fingers. You're going to feel that stretch, then paint up and down. Okay? Do both of those stretches 5 times each. Now we're going to talk about ergonomics for the hands. The most common place we think of when we talk about ergonomics for the hands is at the computer or the keyboard station. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Whenever you're sitting at the desk, you want your keyboard to be directly in front of your body, never to the side, because that's going to cause you to twist your spine, your shoulders, and even your arms, causing problems. So your keyboard should be directly in front of you on a workstation that's such that your elbows will be bent to 90 degrees. That's a very relaxed position for your arms and elbows. If your workstation is too high, it causes your elbows to bend greater than 90 degrees or less, and your wrist to be flexed, causing problems. If your workstation is too low, it makes you extend your elbows too far, causing wrist problems when you bend your wrist into extension, such as that. So right there, relaxed. And your mouse should also be to the right side of your keyboard, very neutrally positioned, so your elbow as well is at 90 degrees and your wrist should be straight at all times. Keeping the wrist straight is very important. Not only should you keep the wrist straight when you're working at the computer, but there's probably 101 times every day where you're inclined to put your wrist into a full extension and put pressure on the hand. That's very debilitating. A large nerve goes right through the carpal tunnel inside of your wrist, and when you extend your wrist back with pressure like that, that can cause damaging forces to that nerve inside of the carpal tunnel. So what do we do to protect from that? Well, let's talk about some of the common areas of daily life that you might be inclined to put pressure on your hand bent back like that. The first place, maybe not everybody does this, but it's push-ups. If you're going to do push-ups, you'll get down on the floor and you put your hands back like this and do push-ups. A good way to keep your wrist straight is to use your fist on the floor instead of your hands bent back. That protects the wrist and the carpal tunnel and gives you a stronger, more neutral hand and wrist position. Now, if you don't do push-ups, where else can you do this? I've seen many waiters and waitresses ruin their hands literally by carrying heavy trays overhead like this on their fully bent back wrist. Now they can use their fingertips in this case. Try to use your fist, not at my table. Another place you can use your fist instead of your wrist bent back is sitting down into a chair. I'm going to sit down to this chair right here, and instead of using my wrist bent backward to support my body, very damaging on the carpal tunnel nerve, I'm going to put my fist down and lower my body easily into the chair. Same thing when I get back up out of that chair. So we always want to keep our wrists straight and not bent back. Another area, going through a doorway, like a public doorway where there's a door on spring tension. Instead of contacting the door with your wrist bent back and pushing through it, you can use your fist to contact the surface of the door and push through gently. If that's uncomfortable for you, you can also use your forearm, placing your forearm against the door and open the door and pushing it as you walk through. You'll start to notice different areas of your life where you bend your hands backwards and you put pressure against that palm surface of your hand. Whenever you notice yourself doing that, especially if you already have hand problems, stop and think of another method you could use to do that activity by keeping your wrist straight. It'll typically be your fist or your fingertips, like talking about the servers carrying the trays. Now let's talk about foot problems. There's two basic exercises that I used on 99% of my foot pain patients. Now, some of these exercises could cause pain if you already have foot pain. So again, if these exercises cause you more foot pain, stop doing them. If not, these would be great to improve the strength and flexibility of your foot joints. The first one is real easy. It's a balancing exercise. Most people don't have good enough balance, which leads to foot problems and ankle problems, even knee, hip, and spine. So we're going to simply balance on one foot, just like this, for about 10 seconds. Notice my foot fluctuating back and forth in this position. That's all the tiny muscles and tendons and ligaments keeping me balanced. Then I'm going to do the other foot. 10 seconds on both sides, and I can do it 5 times on both sides. You're going to find this to be difficult when you first start doing it, but after you continue to do those foot balancing exercises, it'll get easier and easier. As you become a master, try them with your eyes closed. That's a whole other thing. Whenever you close your eyes, it makes your body get off balance. So whenever that exercise becomes too easy for you and you become bored, close your eyes and you'll have a fun time. The next exercise for the feet are toe raises doing circular motions. I'm going to turn around and looking at the backs of my feet. You're basically going to stand up onto the balls of your feet, your heels slightly off the ground, and you're going to raise, go out, up, in, and down, doing little circles as you look at the backs of your heels. You never want to touch the ground if you can keep from doing that. Always keep your feet, your heels, up off the ground on that lower position. Do this 10 times going inward, then relax, and then 10 times the other direction. These are great for improving range of motion, strength, and flexibility in the foot, the ankle, and even the legs and knees. The next thing we're going to talk about is keeping your feet flat on the ground. If you have a position at work where you're always standing, it's easy to get bored with just standing doing nothing, so we find ourselves angling our feet so we're on the outsides or the insides or doing something weird with our feet. The best position is a neutral, flat foot position on the ground. Also, when you're seated at a workstation, it's common for people to put their feet behind them. Like if there were no legs in this chair, putting your foot underneath the chair with your ankle bent backward could cause problems to the ankles and the feet. So again, sitting at the computer, keeping your feet flat on the ground is the best ergonomic position for your ankles and feet. There's also another exercise, or a massage, if you will, you can do on your foot using a golf ball or a tennis ball or even a racket ball. You want to do this with your socks or bare feet. You're going to put the ball on the ground and simply put that ball on the undersurface of your foot. If it's arch pain, you'll just gently roll that ball in the arch position of your foot, arch part of your foot. If it's heel pain, you can roll it on the heel part, and if it's the ball of your foot, you can do it over the ball of your foot or just behind where the toes attached to the foot. This is a great exercise. I've had a lot of my patients do this, and they find good relief when they start doing that exercise. Thank you for visiting with me today. You have a great day, and we'll see you next time.